Estamos no início da era digital e trabalhar na internet é cada vez menos especial. É mais que sabido que o trabalho remoto é o futuro do trabalho e a pandemia veio só acelerar esta realidade. Milhões de pessoas foram empurradas para o trabalho remoto e isto vai causar uma mudança no mercado tremenda. Cada vez vai ser mais comum espaços de coworking, espaços de co-living, comunidades de trabalhadores remotos ou vilas inteiras, como é o caso da Ponta do Sol na Madeira. Mas o que é realmente preciso para atrair este mercado e para satisfazer este consumidor? É mesmo sobre isso que é este vídeo e vou-vos apresentar um caso de sucesso para que consigamos respostas para todas estas perguntas. O meu nome é Miguel, da Remoto Portugal, e estou a viver em Bansko há 4 meses e durante estes meses fiz parte do Coworking Bansko, um espaço de coworking que não só meteu Bansko no mapa do Nomadismo Digital, como também está a revolucionar esta pequena cidade na Bulgária. E hoje vou-vos apresentar o Coworking Bansko, vou ter uma pequena entrevista com um dos fundadores, o Matias. Vou-lhe fazer várias perguntas para que consigamos respostas para todas estas perguntas, para que isto sirva de exemplo para vários espaços de coworking ou pequenas e médias empresas que se queiram adaptar a este mercado e para que Portugal esteja na linha da frente no que toca ao trabalho remoto.
Hi, I'm Matthias. I have been nomadic for a very long time. And about 5 to 6 years ago, I decided I need to find a better base. So I was based in Salzburg in Austria, had a small startup there, really loved the city, but I was also traveling a lot. And when you travel a lot, I don't want to be in a country where you pay a lot of taxes and where you have very high cost of living, where you have an empty apartment that you have to pay a lot of rent for. So I was looking for another place that could be a better base for a nomad. A friend of mine suggested to look at Bulgaria. I've never been here before, but it's in the EU. It has a 10% income tax, it has super low cost of living, it's very well connected to the rest of Europe, and it's an amazing climate. So we decided to come here to check out Bulgaria, and I'm originally from Munich, so for me the mountains are super important. So we found this place Bansko, which is one of the best ski resorts in the Balkans. And we really loved it here. So not only in the winter when there's skiing, but also especially in the summer, there's lots of activities, there's lots of nature. And the thing here is it's very stress-free, right? So it's a small village, there's no traffic jams, there's little pollution, it's easy to run into people, there's no stress. So we decided this is a great base for us. But then we also discovered there's not a lot of other people around town that we really want to engage with. So we had to bring our friends here, and the way how we did this is we opened a co-working space, initially very small, just for a few people, and then over time it grew and we found out that there's many other people that like similar things that we do. So we decided we try to do this with freelancers and entrepreneurs and our friends. And initially I think the first year we were maybe 20 people or so on average, and it was all people that we knew. And then all of a sudden the next year their friends showed up. And the year after, the friends of their friends showed up. And now, in the meantime, we are about 100 members on average, which of course is totally different. Because if it's only your 10 friends and you play board games with them, it's not really a business. But if it's 100 people and a lot of them that you don't really know before, also the expectations change. So before we said, okay, we're a community-driven space and everything happens here because members do it. But now we also have a lot of people coming here with expectations. They have expectations of the facilities, they have expectations of the events that we run, they have expectations of the quality of service. So I think probably around the 30 to 40 member mark, I realized we have to make this more professional. Otherwise we are not meeting the expectations of the people, and of course my idea is that people come here and they have a great experience.
This community is important. We are here for it.
So the nice thing about Bansko is, because it's a tourist resort, there's a lot of facilities and infrastructure that we can use, right? So there's like a lot of hot springs, there's mountain bike trails, there's people that rent cars, there's amazing restaurants, there's a lot of activities that we can do here. And I think this is one of the advantages of being here, that we can take everything that's here and bring it to our community. In terms of facilities, we started very small, so we had only one location, the location that we call our social space now. It was never meant to be our final location, so we actually had a bigger location in mind. We found a building next door that was a small bookstore before, and they just vacated like a few weeks earlier, and we decided to try to get that building. It's now our quiet space. Initially in the backyard it was like an old lady living in a shed, Then the shed was falling apart, so she moved out, and we could turn the backyard into a garden, which was also an amazing experience. Then we also discovered that as we were growing, in the winter there's more and more people living close to the gondola because they want to ski. So we decided to open also a location close to the gondola. It's also very interesting because we don't run any events there, so it's more focused on work, and it tends to be more frequented by long-term members that have bought apartments there. So they have formed their own little community up there, which is really cool. And then recently we have opened the buildings that you can see behind me, which we call the lounge. Also, like when we grow, of course, there's more and more interests of members. And one interest that came up is people wanted to have more like a coffee shop lounge atmosphere. So we decided we will make this happen. And we created a location that's just focused on like social activities. Tomorrow we are gonna reveal our playground location, which is a plot of land in the forest that we bought. And I think this will be also pretty exciting because we can build stuff there together. There's talks about a tree house, of a cabin, of a zip line, of a mountain bike parkour. So I think the idea of Coworking Bansko is that we provide the infrastructure and the facilities, and our members can use this as a platform to do whatever they want to do and whatever they want to enjoy. The nomad lifestyle is amazing, but one of the biggest drawbacks is that because you travel very often, it's difficult to really make deep connections. And this is one aspect of our community here in Bansko, is to spend a lot of time together with the same people, and this makes it really easy to make deeper connections. While in other nomad hubs, life is more transient, and there's many different events organized by different groups. Here in Bansko we have our own little bubble, and if you live inside the bubble, it's pretty much guaranteed that you will find people to start a business with, that you find people for romance, that you find travel buddies, that you just make these connections that make all the difference. Our goal here is to motivate members to set up events, to create experiences, and I think this is really what you need to do to have a strong community. You don't want to manage a community, but you want to grow people in the community to take ownership and feel being part of it. People are always surprised how many different activities and events we do here. So basically we have something going on every single day, and in the busier times there's 2 or 3 things happen in parallel. And I think this is great because it gives people the opportunity to choose between different things. To give you an idea, the co-working space is organizing regular events to create more of a routine. So for example, on Monday evening we always play board games. On Tuesday we have a poker night. On Wednesday we often go out for group dinners. On Thursdays we normally go to the hot springs. On Fridays we have a potluck barbecue. On the weekends we organize trips or hiking. On Sunday we always watch a movie together. We also offer the opportunities for members to showcase what they work on, and I think this kind of skill sharing and presentations are super important because it gives people a platform to present what they do, and it also creates better connections. So we do presentations and workshops normally on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. There's a lot of things going on here, and it's super interesting because we have so many members that have specific skills or passions, and whatever they want to do can happen here, and this mix of events and activities makes it great. We are trying to accelerate serendipity, making connections between members, and we have 2 main venues how we do this. On the one hand, once a month we do a showtime event where everyone has 2 to 3 minutes to present what they're working on, and on the other hand we have a super cool application, we call it the exchange application, where people can create their profiles to showcase what skills they have, what projects they're working on, what help they need. And this makes it really easy to find out, do we have other people in the community that have complementary skill sets that you need for a project or for business. And we even have mastermind groups from time to time where people can get specific feedback from other members about their most pressing business challenges. We have gamified the Coworking Bansko experience for our members. So we have things like, if you bring me a magnet, I will give you a magnet of Coworking Bansko. If you do something amazing for the community, we will put your face on the mug. If you buy an apartment here, you will get a Coworking Bansko keychain. If you get a 10-year membership, we will 3D print a little statue of you. So I'm trying to incentivize people in our community to be the best version of themselves. My focus is to build an ecosystem for digital nomads and remote workers in Bansko. So when we first arrived here, even though we had all the touristic infrastructure, there were a lot of things missing for our members. So we started to document a lot of information, like for example, how do you find a lawyer, how do you find a carpenter, how do you do your taxes. And we have put this all on an online platform. It's at wiki.coworkingbansko.com. And over time it made it much easier for our members to really find out what to do in the city. And of course for them this is also great, because in Bansko there's not a lot of differentiation between businesses and restaurants, so everyone has the same menu. And I think there's a great opportunity for some of these businesses to be much more successful if they understand better what our members want. Bansko is a small town with only 10,000 people. So our community is starting to also make a financial impact for some businesses. I would estimate that the average member here spends about €1,000 per month for accommodation, for food, for car rental, for membership and so on. And when you multiply this with the size of our community, it means that we probably have an impact of €1.5 million that we bring to the town every year. And of course this is additional revenue to tourism. This is not taking away from anyone, but this is really a net plus. And of course this is great, so a lot of businesses appreciate this opportunity. Remote work is growing at the moment, and despite the pandemic, actually Coworking Bansko had the strongest year last year. We are growing constantly. I think we will continue to grow in the future as well. Not only because of our community that's growing, but also because travel patterns change and work patterns change. And my feeling is that everyone who has experience working from home now in the last few months will realize very quickly that if you can work from home, you can work from anywhere. I'm super excited about the upcoming Bansko Nomad Fest. It's gonna be from June 28th to July 4th. It's 1 week packed with speaking slots and a lot of social activities. So we wanted to make it a mix between a normal conference and a vacation retreat festival type of experience. So in the mornings you will have multiple tracks of speakers that will help you to understand better how can you grow your business, how can you make better connections, how can you market, how can you find meaning in your life. And then in the afternoons we will do things like rafting and wine tasting and zip lining and mountain biking. We will have a big pool party. We have some DJs for some small party rave type of events. So it's really something that you shouldn't miss, also because we expect about 400 to 500 people. It's an in-person event. From what I see at the moment, it's probably one of the only in-person Nomad events of this size this year. So everyone who is someone will be here, and you should be here as well.
E chegamos assim ao final de mais um vídeo. A verdade é que Bansko, por ter criado as condições certas, ter uma boa comunidade e ser um sítio incrível, claro, também ajuda com muitas atividades, isso acabou por colocar Bansko no mapa do trabalho remoto, e isso está a revolucionar esta pequena cidade. Eu acredito muito que Portugal tem muito potencial em vários sítios espalhados pelo país para criar condições e ser um sítio de eleição para o trabalho remoto. Portanto, se gostaste deste vídeo, se tiraste algum tipo de valor, deixa o teu like, deixa o teu comentário e partilha com quem achares que seja relevante. Não te esqueças de subscrever o canal e vemos no próximo vídeo.